male prison gangs use this man for
Daniel Williams, the young man that he's talking about in this video, is a perfect example of what is wrong in our criminal justice system. Daniel Williams was convicted of a very petty crime, theft, and then he was sent to a prison, to a jail, with hardened criminals, people who have committed murder, rape. This is not the first time that this happens. This happens far too often, where petty criminals are taken out of their communities and put in jails with the most egregious human beings there are. And as he says in the video, please go back and watch the video, these jails are often run by prison gangs. People in these jails do not need to be in society, and that is for a reason, because they do the things that they do. They rape, they murder, they brutalize. Billions is spent in taxpayer dollar every year housing petty criminals next to hardened criminals. This is not the only issue with our criminal justice system. Our criminal justice system also may help to perpetuate career criminals, taking petty offenders who need to be rehabilitated, who need to be assisted in sort of re-entering society, turning them into repeat offenders by giving them these permanent records that makes it impossible for them to get jobs and become meaningful members of their community. There's also the issue of taxpayer dollar, how much taxpayer dollar is spent housing petty criminals every year. Billions of dollars is spent housing petty criminals every single year, just for these petty criminals to get out with these records, become repeat offenders, and make their communities worse. So taxpayers are essentially paying to make their communities worse. There needs to be some reform in our criminal justice system, and this is one of the areas, finding a different way to punish petty criminals and help them re-enter society, and not put them in places like this where they have to live next to these hard criminals. The next presidential administration needs to do something about this. I have been writing a policy plan for this issue. It is called the American Fight on Crime. Tag Trump in the comments. But yes, essentially my policy plan will help to address this issue and many others with petty criminals, people who commit misdemeanors, essentially, and certain nonviolent low-level felonies like theft. Punishing those who commit these crimes without subjecting them to the treatment that you get when you go to jail and live next to hard criminals, like being brutalized, like Daniel Williams, like being murdered, like Daniel Williams, for committing a petty crime. It would also save taxpayers billions of dollars not having to house petty criminals in prison. I don't want to give away everything that I've planned in my policy plan here, but essentially it's a type of probation where those who commit petty crimes, instead of being placed in jail, are allowed to remain outside of jail, but are subjected to extreme supervision and other requirements that they have to meet in order to stay out of jail. And then these other requirements will also help them re-enter society and become productive members of their community. Jail should be a place only for hard criminals, people who murder, people who rape, things like that. There has to be a different alternative for petty criminals where they're not placed in these prisons with these awful people, and taxpayer dollars also not wasted having to house petty criminals for a year, 2 years, which is usually how long the sentencing is for petty criminals. This should be at the top of the list of any potential presidential candidate who wants to get into office. What are they going to do about this nationwide problem of our justice system, and how we punish petty crimes, and how we help those who commit petty crimes re-enter society? My policy plan is multifaceted. It is not just going to help petty criminals, but other areas of our society that is needing to be reinforced, like our industrial sector and the amount of jobs that needs filling in that sector, education. It's a multifaceted approach to solving the issue of petty crime in this country and saving taxpayers billions of dollars and actually helping our economy. So tag the next president down below, Trump at Trump down below. The next presidential administration needs to get to work on this issue pronto, and I have ideas. So tag them below.